Yeah, I understand.
But
I didn't tell anybody.
once you're committed to that.
I didn't get back until like 6
Okay.
at night.
From yesterday's route?
The Selma to Montgomery March along this route. Please feel free if you have any questions along the way. Feel free to ask me. We have, I guess, about 10 or 12 stops along the way. Okay. So everybody looks warm, ready to go, colorful. We'll start our orientation down the street at the Artesian Well. Okay. Everybody's good. I had actually an interview when I consulted on the building of this statue, and I thought it was important because I see Rosa Parks as a symbol of the black women who was beating the pouring hole for horses and the like, but now it has a cast iron sculpture on top of it with Hebe, that's the Greek goddess, atop the well. But this is also the location for the sale of enslaved people. So Montgomery, at one point in time, was the
On Friday, a large group of bikers met at 10 a.m. downtown for the Montgomery Civil Rights Tour by bikes. There were between 40 and 60 bikers for this tour. As you can see, we toured the sites where Miss Rosa Parks lived, where Dr. Martin Luther King lived, and the church that he preached at, and where Dr. Abernathy lived, and also I learned Nat King Cole is from Montgomery, and his house is on ASU's campus, Alabama State's campus. This was a great tour in the cold weather, but everyone enjoyed it. Everyone stayed together, and the police kept us on track and safe.
Carolinas, but they meet major obstacles when they enter Alabama. They are attacked in Addison, Alabama. The bus is firebombed. They have to get another bus to continue their trip. They make the trip down to Birmingham, and the Birmingham, like Montgomery, there is an arrangement or agreement between the Ku Klux Klan and local police circle officers to allow the Ku Klux Klan to beat the Freedom Riders. So they're beaten in Birmingham, and CORE, Congress of Race and Equality, decides that they're going to end the Freedom Rides and fly to the terminal in New Orleans. Greyhound buses heading towards Jackson, Mississippi. And so the understanding in Mississippi is that they're not going to beat the Freedom Riders. They're just going to take them to jail. So what you have is a succession, waves of people who come to Montgomery to pick up the Freedom Rides heading to Birmingham. Well, she created this space. She calls it the more up campus. If we're gonna go by at a point in this tour, we're gonna go by the state capitol, and we'll pass by the front of the state capitol. Jefferson Davis. One is Marion Sims. Marion Sims has been called the father of American gynecology. During the antebellum period, he would either lease or acquire enslaved women to experiment on his gynecological procedures. Of course, he didn't use anesthesia. These women could not agree to these procedures. Were not fully understood. I don't know why you're so far away.
Yeah, but the sun's out here.
The period of enslavement during the antebellum period, and under the eye of Montgomery's white population, the church, after the Civil War, the population of the white Episcopal Church, Methodist Church, was it was so. And so the white church was going to build a new facility. They placed the old frame church on a set of logs and rolled it to this location. The legend has it that the old black man was sitting on the side of the road and said, "Oh, that's the old ship of Zion rolling down the street," and that's how it's supposed to have gotten its name. The church has a special place in my heart that my two daughters were baptized in this church. But right across the street, and we're going to meet with other ministers in Montgomery to discuss the decision to have a bus boycott. They create the Montgomery Improvement Association. That Monday, okay, so Rosa Parks is arrested on a Thursday, December 1st, 1955. The night of Rosa Parks' arrest, labor organizer Edie Nixon then called Martin Luther King and other folks, and they all agreed to initiate a bus boycott. Right? The women of the Women's Political Council, many of whom are professors at Alabama State University, get their students, go over to the university, run off flyers announcing the bus boycott. Students and women of Women's Political Council then the next day distribute those flyers announcing a bus boycott throughout Montgomery. Then that weekend, there's a meeting at this church. That meeting, in that meeting, to my left, behind you, and we're gonna make a left. You're gonna see a church on your right-hand side. That's it's a Lutheran church. At the time, it was called Trinity Lutheran Church. They had a white minister there. His name was Robert Brett, and his wife Jean Brett. They eventually had 7 children. Been the most populous part of Black Montgomery. And this is one of the intersections that was popular. But we passed a couple of locations. I hope you got a chance to see the YMCA, the library, the Lutheran church. But also, I wanted to draw attention to there was a street we passed by called Fred Gray. I think it's Fred Gray Avenue. It used to be called Jefferson Davis. This was a hospital. So some of the people who were injured in the Freedom Ride were brought to the hospital here at the city station. But it was a hospital that admitted Black patients, and so it served to have Black clientele. And of course, it had some Edie Nixon, and Edie Nixon was running for the local Democratic committee, and he spoke to Black people in that auditorium, in that gymnasium. And he reminded people of Montgomery, the Black population of Montgomery, that they could use their economic leverage to challenge racial discrimination in Montgomery. It's one of those events leading up to the bus boycott. Behind me, across the street, the women of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the women of the SCLC, erected that monument of Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks attended the Alabama State Laboratory School, which was located on this corner. Also, earlier I talked to you all about Joanne Robinson. Joanne Robinson about his experiences in this house at the beginning of the Montgomery bus boycott. And he's having a conversation with God, and he's asking God to give him strength that he doesn't know whether he has the strength and the force inside. King is awoken late night by one of many threatening phone calls, and he sits at the kitchen table, and when he has this experience. And then, of course, 3 days later, his house is actually bombed. But he has the fortitude to sort of live through and sustain himself through the systems of Alabama did was to build their building around life. That's the old state Supreme Court building, and then they built their structure around it. But this would have been a term.
The additional video that's coming up at the end of this video, and click on it to go and see the next one that shows more things to do in the Montgomery area.